And we are back here in Houston, Texas at 3MA High-End Audio. As always, doing it real big, Luis.
We don't know any other way to do it, Jay. I mean,
For real.
This is our Spooktacular event. We go all out. I mean, you'll see the decorations. This is a lot of fun. So I invite everybody next year to come over. We're having it every year. And Jay is always invited. So, you know, we have a few new things in the store.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique, right? You don't see this every day. And, you know, we encourage people to come dressed up in costume and
take a look,
hey,
guys. Take a look.
Just,
let's see that people have started to arrive. So look at that. It's gonna be fun, amazing, guys.
Yes.
It's always an amazing time here at 3MA High-End Audio. And by the way, forget about just audio. These dudes are doing video now.
Oh,
we got an impressive wall, a video wall you're about to check out on the video. But before we start, you know what to do, right? Hit the like button and subscribe. Walk us through what you got.
Let's go see
Let's
it.
go.
Yes.
Let's do it. Special right here. Check this out, guys. Beautiful. Let's turn some lights on. And just an amazing, amazing room. This room did not exist last time I was here. But as you can see, they have gone all out. Look at this. They have subs at the top of the theater, towards the roof. And this is the biggest showstopper. Tell us about this.
What we have here is a direct view LED wall from LG. It's 136-inch diagonal. It's, I mean, you know, we thought about doing projectors. We thought about, you know, what are we gonna do? I thought maybe we do an LED wall because it's a perfect size for the room. And not only that, it can get really bright. The contrasts are amazing. Sorry, we have it paused right now. Let's go to the menu with the kaleidoscope. It looks really, really nice. And I heard, Jay, you mention the subwoofers that are on the wall.
Yeah, I've never seen this before.
Exactly. So
this is
the reason we have this is because we're doing waveforming with the turn-off audio processor.
okay.
So by having subwoofers on a wall, we're able to create a planar wave that is emitted by the subwoofers that are in the front, and it is absorbed by the subwoofers that are in the back.
Wow.
So we eliminate standing waves in the room. So any bouncing of waves, that doesn't happen. The subwoofers in the back is taking care of absorbing that energy, and it doesn't bounce back in the room. So anywhere you walk, you don't have any difference in bass performance. Everything is as good as you get in the reference seat, you get it in all your seats, which is really spectacular. You know, the hardest thing to do is be able to manage bass in a not only a theater, 2-channel room as well. So with waveforming, it helps eliminate standing waves, and it creates a more symmetrical experience for all seated positions and anywhere in the room.
How many channels right now?
So we have a 9 bed layer.
Okay.
We have 6 Atmos speakers and 8 subs. So a 9.8.
Wow.
6.
That's a Trinov processor.
A Trinov
What about
processor.
amplification?
So we have an altitude 32 Trinov processor, and our amplifier is an altitude 16.
Got it.
Amplitude 16, my apologies. Also from Trinov.
Yes.
So it's a multi-channel amplifier. It's all Class D, but it sounds phenomenal. And we're featuring per listen
Check
audio
these out,
speakers.
guys.
So
We've seen this at shows all the time.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
people should be very familiar with this brand.
So this brand has the DCP array. So it's a directivity pattern control. So it minimizes floor and ceiling reflections by guiding the sound to where it needs to go instead of going all over the place to the ceiling, to the floor. Minimizes floor and ceiling bounce. And you know what? This is the only THX Dominus rated speaker. So for theater, we want huge dynamics. I mean, they can do amazing with music, and we can play concerts, we can play strictly 2-channel, and they sound phenomenal. But in theater, when you need those dynamics, these speakers can do it. We'll play a few clips for your
Yeah, absolutely, for the audience.
later. So our surrounds are all the in-wall version of the S7. So it's the same driver array, same driver configuration, just in an in-wall format. The box is actually aluminum. So it's not just a plastic box that they put into that. So these are actual aluminum boxes that are in the back, and you have minimum sound going out of the box, so everything, all the energy is just pushing into the room. So we have all surround channels like that. And in the ceiling we have the SI3 in-ceiling speaker. So these are angled at 30 degrees. So you're able to have them in ceiling and still have the Atmos effect in your reference listening position.
This is beautiful. I actually would probably go in this direction when it becomes, available for my budget. Yes, I do have a video budget, maybe not audio budget, but I do have a video budget, okay? But I own a projector, and I can tell you just the presence of this display is just breathtaking. And when you see it in the room like this, that's very well done. Clearly, these guys have paid attention to every nuance of the presentation, both video and audio. This is just how it gets done. What about these beautiful chairs? I've never seen these chairs.
These chairs are from Valencia Seating. One of the things we wanted to make sure is that our head was not covered. Most of the time you see theater chairs that cover the back of your head, and what happens is you get early reflections off of that chair. So we have a very, very comfortable chair that doesn't cover the back of your head, so you're able to not get that early splash off the headrest that usually happens with higher headrest theaters.
A lot of my viewers are complaining about my chairs, so maybe these are my next chairs right here. So I thank you for that. Maybe we're going to be calling 3MA to order some of these.
The in walls are also THX Dominus rated.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then the way we did it is we have the tweeter level slightly elevated, so if somebody is seated here, it's not blocking sound for the rest of the people that are seated in the chairs. So everything is thoughtfully designed, thoughtfully created.
It's been a long time coming. I know last time I was here, this room was
totally different.
It was not like this, and so an idea is now finally materialized. And it's great to see that you are now full throttle with video too, not just audio. So those of you that are videophiles and that want a combination of high-end sound as well as video, right here, you're looking at my guys.
It's just incredible. I mean, even if you listen to just 2-channel in this system,
it's amazing. Yes, I bet. Yeah, it has to be.
And that's the foundation for theater to sound great, right? You have a great 2-channel. And then you can build your theater in a way that is just incredibly dynamic, incredibly precise.
I know my guys are probably getting desperate, so let's check out some audio stuff, okay? Because I know you all come to my channel for that. So let's continue on and show some more. All right, so.
So now we're back at it, right? This is what we all love.
This is what we love, right? Beautiful. So tell us about this is I'm assuming your flagship setup.
So this is one
cost
of
no
our
object
flagship setups. We have one of our cost no object
Yep.
systems,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like why not have 3 or 4 cost no object systems in a store,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Who doesn't need 3 or 4 cost no object?
I can't take that away from you all. You do big. You guys do big things. No question about it. Your store is
So,
one of the very few stores that I strongly recommend is these guys here. These guys are trustworthy people that you can do business with your eyes closed.
And no, one thing is we really go all out for customers. Even if manufacturers don't respond or don't want to give us refunds or anything like that, we go all out. We will refund the customer. We will deal with the manufacturers. Hence why the lines we carry are the lines we carry. These manufacturers are spot on. They always have great customer service. I mean, owners of companies actually email customers to make sure that everybody is extremely happy. So let's talk about the system.
Yeah, sure.
So here we have a pair of Magico M6s. And the Magico M6s are accompanied by a 6-pack of REL acoustic reference number 32 subwoofers. So one of the things that I want to talk about is the subwoofers, because everybody has seen, and a lot of people have heard the M6s, but it's different when you hear it in this way. So I want to introduce you to Isaac Markowitz. He's the director of sales for REL Acoustics. And I'll let Isaac talk a little bit about what we're listening to here when it comes to the six-pack and the integration of the six-pack.
Dude,
so good.
I didn't recognize you. I'm like, yo, who is this
Can
dude?
you believe the hair is real? It's not part of the costume. It is
Good
good to see you, Jay.
Likewise.
It's always fun.
Awesome.
You know, I think we've heard a lot about subwoofers over time. There's a lot of what I think is really good information about what subs do, and also probably some misinformation about what subs do. And so you've watched me do this for a long time. You know I feel the same as you do.
Yes.
We're about performance. We're about precision. We're about texture. And that's really what REL is about. It's easy to make bass, but really great subwoofers are about space. Because everything that you record, whether it's in a studio, whether it's something live, and this is something interesting, but even electronic music done in a board has its own sense of time within the structure of the console, right?
Yep.
And so being able to reproduce that space becomes hugely important to making the speakers that you already purchased sound more like the speakers you wanted to buy in the first place.
Yep.
That's what I think makes us really special, is how we slot in. Now, of course, we're pretty well known for these line arrays now, and we get questions all the time, like, why would you do this?
Right.
Well, there's a couple reasons. There's one really obvious reason at the high end, which is that you have a height factor. You can see it. It makes a lot of sense to see the height. But one of the things that doesn't immediately call attention to itself is the fact that the pair of subwoofers on the bottom plays plenty loud to keep up with this speaker, right? So this isn't about more loudness, but it is about reducing the burden on the first pair of subwoofers you bought. So like everything else in your system, if you think about it, right, if we can reduce the output of this by 30 dB, that's an 80% reduction in the amount of watts used. That's much cleaner, that's less backwash on your power line. And so even though you technically have 3 times as many subwoofers, the aggregate amount of noise in the system is significantly less. So
Interesting.
it's really about space. It's about completing the subharmonics. And, you know, I like, lots of speakers. Acoras are great. Wilsons are great. I want to make sure that I give you the opportunity to enjoy that speaker for the reasons you bought it in the first place.
Of course. No, and I've seen the six-pack, but never with this level of subwoofer. I usually have seen it with the smaller RELs. I've never seen it done with this. So
the reference subwoofer in a six-pack configuration, it's just mind-blowing. I mean, you're starting to get into levels of performance that, you know, is the ultra high-end, like many of your members and many of your viewers, right? This is ultra high-end. When you have an ultra high-end speaker and you pair it with reference level RELs, it just takes that experience to a whole nother level. Coupling in the room with the bass as it's elevated gives you a much broader sense of space. So let's talk about this.
This is a real boulder
sculpture.
Big boulder.
That we have here is a Boulder 3060 stereo power amplifier.
I've never seen that one before.
Full Class A. It's really amazing. It's just got such control of the speaker. The dynamics are amazing, and the best quality is that the sound is so neutral. It gives you what the system is playing through, right? It doesn't color anything. It's just allowing things to play through. And we're pairing it with the Boulder 3010 preamp, which is arguably one of the world's best preamps.
Man, listen, it's my channel. I can say this. This is the best preamplifier I've ever owned. Now, this is not any sort of shade on other great preamplifier manufacturers out there, but from what I have owned in my collection, this is still number one. Don't get mad, don't get upset. I'm just a messenger. Based on ownership, I'm giving you my feedback. I have never heard a better preamplifier. And I said, the only bad thing about owning this preamplifier is one thing, besides the price, is the fact that you're gonna get bored, and here's why. Because you know you're at the top. And so you get bored of the same sound, but it's not a fault of the preamplifier. If you get out of something like this, more than likely, you're not gonna improve. More than likely. So.
That is true. It's impossible to get, and we're always striving to get better and better and better. When you sit down and you listen to a system at this caliber, you get transformed, right? And that's what we're all here for, the experience, right? We're not here just to listen to music. We're here to experience live venues in our living room. I mean, it's the reason we're doing this is to try to get there, right? And we get ever so closely or much, much closer with this type of level gear.
Well, and obviously the fact that you have magical loudspeakers, the Boulder 3000 to 3060, you know, they deserve this level of electronics. The Odin 2 speaker cables, XLRs, power cords, you name it, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is just what you got to do when you're at this level. There is nothing. This is why they have to essentially spare nothing. Like, they have to go with an all-out assault. No cost is essentially bypassed. They are going to put everything to make this system shine. So,
and then as easy, Jay, as turning around a chair, we can look at the system that's in the back, and again, have incredible performance. So over here we also have Boulder gear. We have a 2160, and we have the Acora SRC2s, granite speaker from Canada. Amazing soundstage, amazing dynamics, extremely fast and quick. And once we're pairing it with a 6-pack of REL 31s, which is the little brother of the 32s, amazing performance as well. One thing that I'd like to mention is that the reference RELs are sealed. So there's a completely sealed enclosure. It doesn't have a passive radiator. So it gives you that quick tightness of bass that we all come to love from sealed enclosures, right? With no compromise. So again, we're going up in height to be able to have that extra space, extra air in the soundstage. So we have the Boulder 2110 preamp, we have the DCS Rossini DAC and clock, and we have the 2160 stereo power amp. Also wired with Nordos cabling, Bahala 2 and Tier 2 speaker cables.
So this would be a great option for those of you that can't really swing the big cost no object M6 3000 Boulder series setup, right?
When you add, even to a less expensive speaker than this, when you add a 6-pack of subwoofers, all of a sudden you're getting the bass that they're charging you 2-3 times the cost for in some of these speakers.
Yep.
Because the most expensive thing to produce in a speaker is bass.
Yep.
So because you need a bigger cabinet, you need more internal cabinet volume.
Drivers,
it's just physics,
yep.
right?
Amplification.
So, absolutely.
All of that,
So you need a lot of money to be able to produce low, deep bass, quality bass. And when you add a pair or even a 6-pack of subwoofers, you get a lot of that in your system without having to pay that much money for the next level up speaker or maybe 2 or 3 levels up speakers. Because when you add a 6-pack, you're not going the next level up. You're going 2 or 3 levels up.
Right. So now we're going to check out another crazy, insane room here at 3MA High-End Audio in Houston, Texas. Show us that MBL madness.
Yes.
People are arriving, as you can see. We have a lot more guests. But let's continue and carry on. Hey, how are you? Pleasure.
Just for people that like it.
Sorry for the interruption. We're just making a quick video. Huh?
Are you going to dance?
I wish, all right?
Sorry, everybody. I will dance.
And now we are here in another room, another cost no object room, okay? The massive, incredible MBL reference system. I have seen it many times.
Yes.
And I believe twice I still said it was the best to show. I wish I could fit this in my room, but maybe if I make my move to Texas, I probably put this in a room at some
always
point.
Better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can fit it in your room, let's just get you moved.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, yeah, I'm not against that. Tell us about this system.
So this is our MBL Extremes. We have all reference level electronics from MBL. It's a German company. The speakers are omnidirectional, so they fire in 360 degrees in phase. So it's using the room as part of the sound that you're listening to. And it's really unique because what we listen to in real life, when an instrument is played, you're also listening to 360 degree sound field. So this is more realistic than probably any speaker that we have in the store. And the amount of air and dynamics that this system can produce is far, by far some of the best that you can hear. one of the hardest things to produce, and maybe many of your musician viewers, is to be able to get the amount of air pressure that you get from an orchestra inside of your living room. Well, the amount of surface area that each of these covers gets you so much closer to that than your traditional piston driver speaker. So if you fan this out, it equals about a 24-inch surface area driver. So it's a lot of air that you're moving with the Omni section. And then in the back, we have the bass section, which is part of the 4-way system. So you have tweeter, mid-range, mid-bass, and then you have a bass tower. In that bass tower, we have a 12-inch driver on each side of the cabinet for a total of 6 12-inch drivers on each of these towers. And that allows the system to be extremely fast and precise, very, very articulated, because those drivers, those 12-inch drivers, are barely moving in order to produce the amazing textured bass that this system is capable of. I know I'm missing some stuff, so let me bring in some help. How about
Jeremy,
MBL Shepherd.
MBL Shepherd. So
we picked
let's do it.
Up from the street, and I think he knows a little bit about this.
What's really unique about MBL, as Louis said, is the omnidirectional radiation pattern of the loudspeakers. So this here is a tweeter. These are the tweeters, and then the mid-range drivers, and then the woofers. And they all work the same principle. The individual segments, these silver ones, for example, that's the membrane, like the cone of your woofer that's moving like this. We've done it a little different. We've kind of made it three-dimensional. The voice coil's at the bottom, and each segment is independently affixed to the same voice coil, and then they're fixed at the top. So think of a water balloon that you push from the bottom and it expands. That's exactly what is happening here with these drive units. These are the drivers. There's no cabinet or anything for them to have to deal with delayed energy response or anything like that. Everything is just put in the room. It's all active surfaces. So it's either making sound or it's not.
I have a couple of questions for you, and I think some of my audience may want to know this.
Okay.
Question number one is, I've heard mixed opinions, and I'm talking to you because clearly you know this. What kind of room do you need for these types of speakers? For MBL in general, I hear treated, non-treated, and I get emails daily about people wanting to know, if I were to buy MBLJ, do I need a room with diffusers, absorbers, nothing on the walls? What do you have to say to those clients, potential clients?
Well, it depends. That's the answer. They'll work in any room.
Okay.
They take on the character of the room because of the omnidirectional radiation pattern. So you're maybe hearing 10% at the most of an actual direct sound coming at you like this. Mm-hmm. The rest you're hearing is reverberations and reflections milliseconds later, but they're facsimiles of the exact same information. So this allows density of tone, color, and staging and all these things to really, really register in our nervous system, because that's how we've evolved to hear. So the room, if the room sounds good to you living in the room, if you're comfortable living there, if you can have a nice conversation with someone and it's not too echoey,
okay,
you don't have to reach to extend your voice to get over the dampness of the room, then the speaker will sound natural.
Okay.
So it's where you're comfortable, the speaker will be comfortable.
Another question I've gotten about MBL is the fact that obviously, as it should be done, you display a lot with MBL electronics, right? Because it's a full ecosystem, right?
It is,
but
it's not a closed system.
That's why my next question was, is they want to always ask me, when I get these consultations, people want to know, what amplifiers do I run with? Right. And usually the answer that comes from me is, you need power for MBL loudspeakers. Yes. Okay, so you can't be doing no 25 watt set amplifier or anything like that.
Actually you can, but it'll just whisper. It'll be a beautiful whisper. But
so they do have the flexibility of you using, for example, the Boulder 3000 series, something with a lot of power and grunt.
Yeah, large tube amps, the big VTLs, big VACs.
So you've done, so VACs, VTLs. Yeah, I think I've seen it with some Boulder, audio research. Yeah. Okay, good. So there is some flexibility. Absolutely. You're not exactly tied
to, not a closed system.
Because it can be nerve-wracking for some folks that have a heavy investment on the electronics, and then you bring an MBL and you're like, I am not changing the rest of my system for the speakers, right? So it's important that the audience knows that loud and clear. Great.
You don't need that. It's a passive 4-way loudspeaker. Actually, this one has active subs, but it's a 4-way loudspeaker. It has a 4 ohm impedance. It's a benign impedance. The lowest dip is 3.4 ohms.
Okay.
So
Got
it's
it.
not a difficult load for an amplifier, but you don't have a cabinet to build pressure and launch. You're building pressure in the volume of space that they're in.
That makes a lot of
So
sense.
The more damp the room is and the more volume, the more power you're going to need.
And in this case, you're using 2 amps per side, or?
So the Extreme is a mirror array. So we have a tweeter, a mid-range, and a woofer section.
Got
Like
it.
you see on the 101 in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just a Dio configuration of that speaker. So they cancel each other's energy because as these voice coils are moving down, these voice coils are moving up. So they're canceling any kind of movement or vibration, any delay or distortion that a cabinet can create by having to deal with the excess energy that is dealing with. So here, each mono amplifier chassis is driving one omnidirectional section. So you have one mono amp for this tweeter mid-range woofer section, one mono amp for this tweeter mid-range woofer section. And then on this model, the subwoofers are active, so they have their own controls. One of the problems in a smaller room is bass modes, right?
Yep.
So what we've added, this is the Mark II version of the Extreme. What we've added to the subwoofer is it has 2 analog EQ bands that you can attack. That there's a 30-60 or a 40-80 in most rooms. You also have relative volume control. You have Q, so you can adjust the tuning of the subwoofer itself. So if you want a fatter, warmer sounding bass, or you want a leaner, more pitch-defined bass, you can adjust those independently. So they can integrate into a smaller room.
One thing I wanted to add, before I forget this, is one thing I can say about MBL, and you touched up on that. I mean, this is the MK2 version. However, I know a lot of brands out there love to switch components every 4 to 5 years. You see a new model. That's not these guys.
Definitely not.
So when you buy something from them, I can tell you they'll be on board current product for a long time.
Absolutely.
Like, they are not into this trickery of, I'm going to sell you something, but in my back pocket, I know the upgrade I'm going to do next so I can squeeze more money out of you.
Yeah,
That's not them.
Not at all. No.
So I know some brands do this. I'm calling you out now.
Amplifiers over 20 years old design that we're listening to now. Loudspeakers about 14 years. The woofers are what's new in the Mark II. This did not change at all.
So again, it speaks about the fact
you
that
can upgrade if you want to take your Mark I subs to Mark II subs.
That's great to know. So there's an upgrade path for people.
Just for this speaker.
Wow.
The other ones don't have that. But
That's great to know.
We're 12 years into the 101.
I want to tell you something special, an announcement that we want to make to your audience and invite them. We're partnering with MBL in the Southwest Audio Fest that you went to last year.
Yep.
And we're going to do a daunting task and break the system down, take it all the way to Dallas.
Wow.
For an audio show.
That's a big.
About 4 hours of taking it down and 4 hours to put it together.
Plus
just
tuning,
we
plus,
can-
yeah.
Plus tuning and setup.
Yeah.
Just so we can have your audience and other customers be able to experience this, because you don't see these at shows very often, because
Nope.
it's so hard to move.
It's very hard.
transport,
Very hard.
and expensive.
Yep.
But we're going to do that just because we want as many people to be able to experience this level of quality of performance. So we invite everybody to be able to join us at Southwest Audio Fest in our room with MBL and 3MA Audio to showcase the MBL experience.
That will be the first time that you display, obviously, because the show is new.
The show
So
is
this
new.
is the second year that we're
Second
gonna.
year.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So we got a really nice sized room.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
So we'll be able to really open them up and.
So we're literally having the hotel run circuits so we can plug all these electronics
it's
into
very
the
practical.
hotel.
So it's a lot of. So make sure you guys get your tickets now,
That's in
and
March in Dallas.
make your reservations. This is definitely a system that I highly recommend you listen to, even if you can't afford it. It's not the point. I think it's just the experience, right? You take these notes, you remember for the rest of your life what is doable, how far we've come when it comes to sound reproduction in our home environment. So sometimes I hear a lot of complainers out there that, I'm not listening to that. That's just too much money. Not the point. I can't afford a Ferrari, but I'd love to drive one. Does that make me, carefree? Like, does that make me dumb for wanting to do that? Not really. It's an experience. So experience the MBL system. Cost no object. I told you in Munich, I loved your room, and I also told you the same thing at the Florida Audio Show. Remember, they were great rooms. So, and it's, my wife who's filming right now has always said it. When it comes to aesthetics, they have the prettiest rooms. the white color with the blue lights, the whole theme you always put together. My wife has always said it is so inviting and so pretty. So it has a wife approval factor.
You have to be
So-
comfortable. We want everyone to be comfortable, especially at trade shows where everybody's running from room to room and
Yep.
trying to see the brands they want to see, and we just want like an oasis, relaxing feel.
It does. Thank you for being patient and listening to me talk. Let's continue. Thank you, guys.
Good job.
Enjoy. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay, so what do we have here?
Okay, so here is another one of our listening rooms. So this one doesn't have golden ratio dimensions, but it's still more, kind of some room that somebody can have in a house. So we have a pair of Bowers & Wilkins 802 D4s. Sound amazing, excellent in here. We're pairing them with REL S812s. We love subwoofers just because, whenever you're experiencing a piano, you want to experience the full body of a piano, right? Whenever you're hitting a chord, you want to hear the fundamental and harmonics. So that many times, speakers cannot play some of the deep harmonics. So you introduce subwoofers and all of a sudden that piano has weight, that piano has full body. So that's what we have on here. Right now we're running it with a Luxman integrated amp. So very simple setup. Very simple setup with a Luxman integrated amp and the REL subwoofer cables. Subwoofers. We have some very unique cables that I want the manufacturer to talk a little bit about what we're listening to, because this system is wired with some special cables, as you can see by the colors.
What cables are these? These are
Yeah,
what?
So I've got, going to the subs, we're doing a solid silver high-level cable for the rail subs. It's in an air dielectric, and we've got a lot of damping and things on that cable to just speed the bass up, make it tighter, faster, and better. We're running, the rest of our interconnects here are reference line of cables that are some copper speaker cables. And then we're doing silver interconnects. So the silver's just got a nice, clean, pure sound, and that copper speaker cable gives the whole system just a little more body, a little more kind of meat.
Yep.
And those speaker cables are an effective 12 gauge.
Okay.
But it's 9 runs of 22 gauge copper, all
Oh,
of their own air tube.
Got it.
And then the interconnects are similarly done. Air tubes, 9 runs.
What's the name of the brand?
Timbre Audio is us.
Timbre Audio. What,
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the brand.
So I'm out of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Second year.
Okay.
I'm in business, so real excited to work with these guys. Real excited to be offering a high-level cable for the rails, because there's not a whole lot of companies doing that.
Right.
So yeah, I think
Great.
we can bring
Good.
something new to the market and something that sounds great.
All right. We'll definitely keep listening to your cables and continue to see them, I'm sure,
Yeah.
at shows and display more about their brand. Great.
So that's how we kind of learned about them, because Clay, one of the REL reps, we were doing a system together up in Dallas, and he brought a set of his subwoofer cables to the system, and both the customer and I were like, whoa, what happened here? Like, what did you do? And he showed me the cable, and I was like, wow, we need to get in contact with this guy, because it sounded amazing. Another thing I want to show you that is housed in this room, but their theater is in the other room, is the equipment that we have going on for our theater room.
This is the equipment. Yeah.
This is the equipment. We're still working on it. We put this theater together in about a month, so it's still a work in progress. But we have the Kaleidoscape system, so Strato V, and the Terra Prime hard drive. We also have a video processor, which is a MadVR Extreme NV. The video processor is very, very good. And the conductor of the orchestra is a Triumph Altitude 32 video audio processor. So this thing is what's doing all the waveforming that we talked about earlier in that room with the 8 subwoofers. It's controlling all of them and making everything sing in that room. Right below it is the amplifier that we're using for all of the speakers that are inside of the room. That amplifier is a 16-channel Class D amplifier, and that's what's wired throughout the entire room. And you'd be surprised of how good that system performs. And then on the bottom we have an AudioQuest Niagara 7000 to plug in all these good pieces of gear, and all the cabling is done by AudioQuest inside of the room. We bought spools of cable, and we bought terminals, and we terminated everything, including the interconnects, which many people don't know. You can buy a spool of interconnects and just terminate the XLR on each end wherever they need it.
So that brings me to the end of this video, and I want to thank you again for being on my channel, Luis.
My pleasure.
And Johnny, class act. Both of them are, again, highly reliable home audio and video dealers that you can certainly trust. I'm co-signing on their operation. They're serious. Their facility in Texas is amazing. I encourage you to fly into Houston, Texas. Call these guys. Set up an appointment.
Our store hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So we accommodate, and like if somebody is flying in and you're flying in on a Sunday because it's the only shot you got, give us a call. We'll be able to open the door for you and give you a private demo. There's no problem with that, right? We're always accommodating, but we don't need any appointments.
Great.
Anybody can just walk in.
Awesome.
And enjoy all these extremely, extremely great systems that we have on display all the time for you.
Thank you for your support. Please continue to support me, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.